Have you ever been so stressed out that you just wish you could, I don't know, blast off to another planet? Well, today we're diving into a poem that's all about that. This is My Trip to the Moon by Akriti Goyal. It's this amazing story about how a surprise trip to space might just be the secret to acing your next big test. Let's figure out what's really going on.
All right, before we get into the poem itself, let's get our heads in the right space. Literally. The whole story is about this incredible lunar adventure, so let's get our imaginations warmed up.
Just, think about that for a sec. What would that even feel like? Floating around, looking down at the Earth. It's a pretty wild thought, right? Okay, hold on to that feeling as we go through this.
And here's the big one to keep in the back of your mind the whole time. Are we about to hear a true story about a wild space trip? Or is this all happening in someone's head? A dream, maybe? Let's find out.
Okay, so with that big question hanging in the air, let's jump in and meet our narrator. Their story kicks off in a place that I think is going to feel, well, very familiar, especially if you've ever pulled an all-nighter for an exam. I mean, we've all been there, right? You're studying late, the pressure's on for a big test, and you're just not getting it. The structure of a mouse might sound a little random, but it's really just that one impossible problem we've all had to face, That wall you hit when you're just totally stuck. And there it is, the core problem of the whole story, right from the get-go. It's not about aliens or asteroid fields, it's about something super real, exam stress. And that's what makes the magic that's about to happen so cool.
And boom, just like that, the world flips upside down. The power cuts out, there's this huge noise, and that quiet, stressful study session is completely shattered. You can feel the emotion change, right? From just being worried to being genuinely scared, full of fright.
And then, the big reveal. It's not some monster outside, it's something even crazier. A giant rocket and an astronaut. It turns out the answer to exam stress isn't another cup of coffee, it's an invitation to go to the moon. So the whole mood just changes completely here. All that stress and fear, gone. Replaced with pure, simple fun. Just bouncing around on the moon. What a perfect way to escape, right? And notice how fast it all happens. You're there and back home before sunset. Kind of makes you wonder. Almost feels like a dream, doesn't it?
And here's the twist. The trip actually worked. The science test aced it. But we're left with this really beautiful mystery, the secret that our narrator is carrying around. So what is the secret?
To really understand that secret, I think we need to look closer at some of the words the poet uses. They're almost like little clues, like a secret code that unlocks what the poem is really about. Okay, so let's start with this moment. That loud burst. This is the sound that kicks off the entire adventure. It's the thing that changes everything. It's a simple word, yeah, but it's used to create this really sudden, dramatic shift. It's like the sound of the normal, boring, stressful world just breaking open to let something extraordinary come through. This phrase is so important. It reminds us that before all the fun and joy of the moon trip, there was this moment of real, genuine fear. And here's the really clever part. This fright isn't just about a weird noise outside. It's totally connected to the fear of failing that science test. The poem links the fear of the unknown with that stress we all know so well from school. And we have to talk about this word from the very last line. The secret isn't just something the narrator remembers, it's something that dwells. So when something dwells inside you, it's not just a memory, it's become a part of you. It suggests that this whole experience, whether it was real or not, had this huge, lasting impact. It's like a source of strength or confidence that actually lives inside them now. All right, so now that we've gathered all the clues, let's finally tackle that big question we started with. What was the secret trip really all about? This is it, the central mystery of the whole poem. And honestly, there isn't one single right answer. But the poet definitely leaves us a trail of breadcrumbs. So let's look at the evidence for both sides. You can seriously argue this both ways, right? On one hand, a rocket just showing up out of nowhere for a super fast trip to the moon. That sounds exactly like a dream, a perfect escape from stress. But then you look at the other side. The results were very real. They passed the test. And that memory, that secret, feels powerful and lasting. So maybe the question of was it real or not is kind of the wrong question to be asking.
Perhaps the real secret of the poem is that it doesn't matter. The secret is the power of our own imagination. It's a tool that can help us escape, find a little joy, and then come back to our problems with a totally new sense of confidence.
And that kind of brings us to the final and maybe most important part. How can we use the message of this poem in our own lives?
So, what do you think? Did the trip to the moon magically give the narrator all the answers for the test? Or did it give them something way more valuable, like confidence? What's the big takeaway here for any of us when we're facing a tough challenge?
So I'll leave you with this thought. Where would your imagination take you? Next time you're facing your own big challenge, what's your trip to the moon going to be? Because if this poem teaches us anything, it's that sometimes the most powerful tool we have for solving our problems is just a really well-timed daydream.